Whole session, the meeting of the South Culture.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now adjourn the regular meeting and for a closed session. During the closed session, we leave the regular board meeting for the South Culture Fire District. There is nothing to report coming out of closed session this evening. This time opening for public comments. If anybody has a comment that they would like to make that is not on tonight's agenda, raise your hand. You can have 3 minutes to make that comment. We will move on to our consent agenda. Does the board have anything that they would like to pull from the consent agenda or questions on the consent agenda? Anything from the public?
I hear
a motion from the board.
I hear that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Can I get a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Special presentation, Starwise Community Update.
Oh, hold on. Community, let's start with community recognition for
What's up, it's 6D.
Daily. Captain Klein,
Yes, sir.
you're up.
I'm up.
You're up.
Tillman, right? Come on over, bud. How you doing? Good, good. Come on over here. So I want to introduce you guys to, is it Tillman Daily, right?
Yep.
Tillman Daily. Okay, so back on, I believe, September 20th or so, if we can go back to the garbage can pictures, please.
Wow.
Right there. Okay.
Gee.
So September 20th, around 3:30 or so, engine 16 gets dispatched to a garbage can fire, which when we hear garbage can fire, we kind of go, okay, maybe it'll be good, who knows? And so we arrive at scene to the dispatch address, and I get greeted by Tillman here. And he comes up to the side of the rig and says, hey, we had a couple garbage cans on fire over here. I saw some smoke, put it out with a dry chem and followed up with some water, and looks like everything's out, good to go, right? So real impressive. And so I get over there and this is what I see, not just the garbage cans only. So none of this. So I just see the garbage cans. And so I can tell you right now, I was extremely impressed with the way he spoke to me on scene. And I was extremely impressed with the actions that he did. And so correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not mistaken, you were walking by or you saw the smoke, correct?
Yeah.
Then you went back home, alerted your mom, grabbed a dry chem, came back, extinguished the flames while your mom alerted the homeowner. Is that correct?
When we were driving home from a thing at my karate dojo,
Mhm.
and when we got there, we saw it, and I went home while she was on scene calling 911.
Okay. And then you extinguished it?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go to the next shot, this is why I think this is important. It may not seem like a big deal at first, but go back to that last picture. So if we look at the picture, that picture alone, so this is about 1.5 years ago, I responded on Horseshoe Bar to that address. So if we go to the right side of that home or to that detached garage, that fire started the exact same way. Somebody put ashes into their green waste bin, and they didn't have Tillman walking by or driving by at the time. And so if you go to the next shot, within about 1.5 hours, it brought that complete structure to the ground. And so I was extremely impressed, like I said, with the way he conducted himself when we pulled up on scene. And, basically my job was done when he got there. And I thought it was important that we acknowledge what he did that day. And I couldn't be more impressed by it. So I wanted to do a couple things for you. So we got you a plaque. An achievement, I'll call it this is the Tillman Award, and I know there's another Tillman Award out there, but this is the first of its kind, the Tillman Award. Another thing is we got you a challenge coin, and so this is for honor and bravery, and this is a tradition in the fire service. And if this isn't cool enough and that's not cool enough, I got you a $100 gift card for Dick's Sporting Goods, right? And so, and as a parent and a dad, and I'm sure, you know, your family, I'm extremely proud of you and what you did that day. And, you know, your community is in the fire service from top to bottom. We have, a fire chief all the way to our firefighters, and we work as a team. But the other part of it that doesn't get recognized is a community and prevention. And so what you did, I think, was invaluable. And I hope that your neighbors appreciate it. And I just wanted to acknowledge you for that. So thank you.
I'm sure you love that. Yeah.
Sean, you're gonna get rid of everything. I don't. Trying to stay. I'm not gonna subject you to this. Let's do a quick spell here. Give me an application. And 1, 2, 3. And then have a hold the board behind you. Stand right there. Somebody else. No, you'll get one for you.
Yep.
All right.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Cheese.
Excellent job. Now what I will do is I will save you and say that you're more than welcome to go unless you really want to learn about what we do here.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Good job.
Nice presentation.
Yes. Mark my words, he's gonna be a fire chief someday.
How old is he?
I've known him when he's about this tall,
14.
and he's an amazing kid. He's super smart.
I didn't know where you were going with the picture, so my apologies. All right.
It was like, it burned up the whole place.
Well, that's. It doesn't make any sense.
He put it out there, put it right there, and then it burned up the whole place.
All right. Firewise now. Mr. Monroe, we'll let you, here, let me preface this with, maybe last meeting or the meeting before, there was a request by some of the board members to maybe get an update on what the Fire Safe Council is in our neighborhood and what they're bringing to the table. I think we've talked about a grant we wrote for them, and if you've come to one of our events, I'm almost positive you've seen Tim or Kathy or both of them there. This is an opportunity for them to talk about who they are, what they're doing, and what's going on. I'll be your press the button guy, so you let me know.
Thanks, Chief. So, board, I went to Chief Dorr with an ask, and he asked me to bring you some information first before we formally ask you. So there is something we'd like from you guys today. But does anybody know what a Fire Safe Council is? You've heard the name? Okay. So really what we are is we're a group of volunteers, and there are 5 of us now. We have one from Hidden Lakes, Shannon Moore, one from the far side of Roseville, just on the outside of South Placer Fire District, named Tim Bellari. Then we have Hans Geyer, who lives in Loomis, and then Kathy and I. We were asked by your supervisor, Supervisor Jones, to come down to this area because we've had so much success just north of here, from Bowman down to Newcastle. When we started out 2 years ago, we had 9 Firewise communities, and it took us 11 years to get those 9. Within the last 2 years, we're up to 27 now. So we've really ramped it up. So Supervisor Jones asked us to come down here and try to do something similar in this market. And what we do is, as we form these Firewise communities, we've learned that these communities are an asset to the fire district. They reduce fuel risk through reduction around their homes. And little by little, the communities get together and they form a team that follows Firewise principles. And then they have to renew their recognition every year. And to do that, they have to do certain things. And what's that done is that it's taught them that they know how to reduce risk. And what they're doing is, as they're learning, they are looking beyond their community, looking at state parks, looking at BOR land, looking at county land, looking at their neighbor's land. And they're trying to figure out, well, how can we reduce the risk even more? And so it's growing over time. And I think I have some slides that talk about kind of where you started. Let's see what the next slide is. Oh, okay. So, yeah, so this slide is a representation of where South Placer is right now. And these 5 Firewise communities that were formed, all formed within that from 2008 to 2024. 5 communities is all we have in this area. And with the population density and with the risk that you have in this area, we knew that we needed to do more. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring that up to, I think it's on the next slide. Okay, these 3 have already come on since we started. And on the next slide, this is where we're going. So the blue dots that you see, those are the communities that we have right now. 3 of those were added within the last 6 months. What we want to try to do is bring this up to about 14 or 15 in a 1-year period. And to do that, we're going to need to have meetings in this area. And we're going to need to pull these communities in and have them reach out to us and have us reach out to them, have them get to know you guys so that we can collectively work together to grow it even faster. And through that, we think that the district will benefit by getting to know those community leaders and what they need. And we think they will benefit by getting to know you. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to bring those meetings into this training room. With your permission, if you don't have the space or the time to do it, we have other options. But I really think it would be a good thing to bring them in here and have them be around this district to get to know you, to get to know the things that the fire department needs, and to get to know what they need. So what we're going to do as a group is we're going to focus on those Firewise communities, but that's not the only thing that we're going to do. We're also going to devote whatever energies that we can and whatever needs that the chief comes to us with, we want to be there. The chief calls us up and says, hey, I've got this event coming up this weekend. I could use some help. Can you be there? We're going to be there. And we're going to hand out information and we're going to teach as much as we can about how to reduce the risk of fire in their communities. And through that, we just get to know each other better. But the other thing that we're going to do, and we've already started, is that we're going to work on state and public lands. We know that by working with the communities down here over the last year, that's a big area of concern. A lot of it started out of the Hidden Lakes Estates concern over the entrance into State Park. And there was some success in that area. However, it's been really difficult to get state parks and Bureau to cooperate. We've been trying really hard over the last year, but I think we've made a break. And I wanted to share that with you. So this illustration shows the Hidden Lakes area. That area has already been abated, and there's been some fuel reduction in that area. We need to follow up on that and make sure that state parks comes through with what they said they're going to do. However, the next step is already in progress. This is the Vogel Valley Road and Boulder Road area. That's already been started on. Bureau has listened to our concern and they acted on it, and they're working on it right now. After Boulder Road, it's going to go up to, next slide. Yeah, this is Horseshoe Bar. Yeah, this is Horseshoe Bar. That's the next area that they're going to work on. So they're gonna go all the way from the lake, all the way up to Horseshoe Bar. And they're gonna work on all lands that are federally owned by the Bureau, maintained by the Bureau. After that, they're gonna work on this area, this Lakeland area, all the way from the lake to Cabot Junior High School. Some of that work has already started. So this is a major accomplishment that we've been able to get. And we've only been working on this for 8 months. So, and we're only officially launching this Fire Safe Council this month. So we would like you guys to allow us to use your room to bring the community in. And we're looking for more and more volunteers to join the team. And we're trying to pull as many as we can from within the community here, some of which we may have to pull outside of the community to get things going. But if we can get more people in the community to volunteer to be on the team, that would really be appreciated. So that's our commitment to you. And we're going to make that happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So your ask is just to use the facility?
Right, yeah.
That's all we're asking.
Right.
Okay.
What would it take to make something like that? Sign a short agreement and make it happen. I don't even think it requires action. It's just, I think this is an admirable group and cause, and that we can, we do a blessing, I guess.
Can't you approve that as the fire chief without board action?
I can, but I think it's important you understand what's going on and what they're doing, because there's not an event I go to.
They're not there.
A meeting that we attend, and this is the kind of work they're doing for your community to help mitigate fire risk. And I wanted to really, my goal was to get them in the room to say, hey, here's what we're doing.
I think it's awesome.
I've had the pleasure of working with Tim for the last year and a half, and I just can't say enough nice things about him. He's very passionate, very heartfelt delivery, willing to talk to anybody, and just phenomenal amount of work that he's done.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you still have a day job?
Oh, my goodness.
And so
Somebody does it with a day job on top.
when you see him out and about, and I mean, I'm not joking when I say I see him everywhere and all the time, he's still working. And so thank you. There's somebody in your community that's really passionate, is taking a focus on this, and the meetings we attend and the stuff he does, it's phenomenal. So.
No, they've been great. They've been at all the open houses, the different HOA meetings we've been to, a couple Firewise things that we went to where you guys had all set it up. No, I'd say it's great that the work that you guys are doing. I support you 100%.
So it's going to grow, and the community people are going to come in. They're going to start asking questions, and they're going to get to know everybody, and it's just going to help us all.
You find that when you educate,
You need a key to the chief's office.
No, I do not.
you find too, when you educate the community, a lot of times they don't know what to do. They want to do something, but they don't know what to do.
Right.
And then when you can educate them, and Tim can really speak to practical experience and what's worked with other neighborhoods and other Firewise communities, it's amazing to see the ripple effect and how that goes. You just kind of steer them in the right direction and give them a few tips on how to make things safer. And then in turn, that just makes our district safer, makes our job easier.
Yeah, a lot of people have heard about Firewise, but they really don't know how to get it started. And then they go to the website and they say, oh, I got to fill out all these forms. This looks too complicated. I'm not going to do it. So what we try to do is help them through that process. We work with OES also to help that get done. But it is having that extra voice saying, we will help you. It pushes a lot of them through.
So, you want to use the room to help organize these, communities, is that right? And
We-
then do you want to follow on with the councils for the training as well? I was just trying to understand what all you want to use the room, because I mean, I'm like, how about? But
So we hold monthly meetings in Auburn now for north of here. And it's not uncommon for us to get like 20 people coming in. And when we first started doing this, it was 4 to 5. And it's grown over time. And these people that come in and they hear about the challenges of the communities, they talk to each other about, well, hey, this has worked for us and this has worked for us. So how about we get together and work with Placer RCD on a shipping program, or we've got this issue where we have this area that hasn't been abated for a long time. Really, where is that area? Well, it's right over there at State Parks, or it's right over here on Volga Valley Road. One of the first areas that I worked on was the Hidden Valley area. We brought them on January of this year. Hidden Valley took me out and they showed me behind Hidden Valley and behind Volga Valley Road. And they said, my God, look at this mess. And they said, we're really appreciative that you guys have come in and helped us to understand how to reduce our own risk. But as we stand up and we look over the fence and we see that, you know, what are you gonna do about that? Who's gonna help us with that? And for years, it's been a big challenge.
So do you have an idea on the time of day you're gonna need it and how often each month?
So I asked, I requested the first Wednesday evening for like an hour and a half every month. What we want to do is we want to bring as many stakeholders as we can in here to get to know this community. Then we want to bring as many Firewise leaders, as many community leaders who want to come. And then we just get to know each other better. And we tell them, here's what's going on with this. We have a burn day seminar coming up on November 8th at Placer RCD. Anybody who wants to learn about burning can go to this event and learn how to burn on your property. And we have Cordy Craig come in from RCD and talk about it. So it's a educational and outreach event that we want to hold once a month for an hour and a half. And then everybody goes home and then we meet again the next month. In between, Kathy and I are running around trying to help as many people as we can who express the need at that meeting or who just call us. We want to start putting banners up throughout the neighborhood here about, you want to join a Firewise community, call this number and it'll come to us. And we answer those calls and we go out and see them. I had a guy call me from the Beals Point area who went to the Kevin Kiley event. And he made a big deal about how State Parks isn't taking care of the Beals Point entrance, and it is a disaster. So Kevin Kiley called Brian Estes. Brian Estes called Chief Wozner. And Chief Wozner called me and said, hey, can you go meet this guy and find out what he's talking about? So I did. And that's the service that the council will provide. We're just an in-between group of volunteers that works between the fire districts, between the politicians and between the communities, and we just try to bring them all together.
Good for you. That's great.
So a couple things. I hope you continue to come back here and tell us how it's going. And tell us more about how you're educating the public and the things that you're talking about. And as a former endurance rider, I have ridden these areas for 40 years and I have seen the change in that vegetation. And there are places that are an absolute tinderbox along there in terms of the amount of undergrowth that has accumulated and the fire ladders that are there. So this is so significant in protecting our communities all the way from here to Auburn, from the county line to Auburn. And so kudos to you. So I do hope you continue to come back and tell us about your progress, about what you're talking about, and if there's any other resources that we can help provide.
Oh, thank you. The reason we come to these meetings is to get to know you guys, get to know what your needs are. And we listen and we take that information and we go outside and we try to help.
My only ask would be, if you're getting 20 people, can we hold it right before this meeting?
That's what I was thinking. It's about an hour long, start this at 5, start this at 6.
No, in all seriousness, this is such a huge win, not only for Firewise in the community, but for the district. And like I said, I wanted them to present to you because the work they're doing is incredible. And, I could just rubber stamp this and have them come in, but really talking to you and telling them what they're doing. And to your point, Director Windishausen, a regular update, quarter. They've been at quite a few of our meetings already, and sitting in the background and observing and witnessing and talking to you all in the meetings. And so, something like a stand, every 3, 4, 5 months, whatever you guys are calling ready for an update.
And I've always been welcomed at any of their meetings, so you can
you can show up at their meetings and meet some of the community folks and get a firsthand idea on what's going on.
It's gonna start out small, but it will grow. And we've already picked up 3 communities in the last 8 months. We have 14 others in process, 14 others. And we have, and it takes time to get those people to move on that application. And then we're gonna continue to work on state parks and on the Bureau. And then we're gonna continue, if anybody in the district calls and says, hey, we need a hand with something, we're gonna continue to help with that.
Gary?
Yeah. I was just kind of wondering if becoming a Firewise community has proven effective in either keeping people with their insurance or lowering the cost of their insurance.
Well, I can tell you that
Interesting.
insurance companies, when they look to renew, I've seen some documentation from some homeowners that have shared with me. They have this checklist, one of which is, are you a Firewise community? Another one is, are you part of a fire risk reduction community? And Chief Dewar just signed Placer County up for that.
Yeah, South Foster will be on the list in 26.
And then they're gonna look at, well, what kind of vegetation do you have in that 0 to 5? What does your roof look like? So when we go to the meetings in your communities, we try to convey what an insurance agent is gonna look at when they look at your house. And when a fire department responds to a fire in a community and they pull up next to a house that just isn't defendable, what they'll do is they'll move on to the next area. So we try to help those homeowners understand how they can reduce their risk. It may help with their insurance. It might. If you're on the FAIR plan, definitely does. There's at least a 5% discount for FAIR plan. So
We did have one member on our MAC board that said he got a reduced price for being in a Firewise community. So it wasn't much, but I think it might be moving that way. And I think insurance companies are starting to move back into California again, so.
yeah, so we don't usually push the insurance aspect of the training and education. We want them to save their lives, save the lives of their livestock, or their pets, their neighbors. Because if you've got a community that's working towards goals, you can reduce the house-to-house ignition that may occur. You want to remove those wooden fences. You want to get those dead trees out of there. We try to bring that education to the community homeowner level.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? I was going to ask you if you could make a presentation before the Board of Supervisors about what you're doing. I know for a fact that the weed abatement program, I talked to the code enforcement officer. He said he has absolutely no power to cite or to fine people. He said he even has to lie his way out. And that's pretty pathetic. He said he goes before the Board of Supervisors every single year and begs for money. He gets no money. He was out at the 2 properties behind me that I have filed complaints on 4 years in a row. He says he can't do anything about it. And it's a paradise waiting to happen. I called the Gecko, who's the head of the Placer County water system. And I think they were part of the little flyer that went out that said water and fire, not even any mention of weed abatement. They have no funding. And dear Board Supervisor Susan, forget it. She promised to do something about it. Didn't answer eight phone calls or anything, but it really made me very upset to find out that the code enforcement officer has no power, no money every year. He said he has to lie his way to get people to believe that they're going to be cited. So that's.
I don't have much knowledge on that code enforcement aspect of things.
Well, he has no power. He told me that. Absolutely none. He has to lie his way out.
But Kathy and I were appointed by the Board of Supervisors.
Mhm.
You have to go through an application process and we went through some training, but they do know that we're out here, and that's why your supervisor asked for our help.
Mhm.
But I'm happy to meet with any supervisor.
Well, Gecko and the code enforcement officer plan to do something about it. We also have a plan that we're not gonna tell you what it is yet.
Any other questions from the
It's
board?
worked before.
Okay. Moving on to old business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Tim.
7A, this is the policy on updating policies. And this is the second reading and adoption. Apologize.
Any questions on the new policy for updating policies? Questions or comments from the public? Need a motion to adopt this new policy on adopting policies.
I make the motion that we adopt the policy on top of making policies. I get a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. District strategic planning.
We will provide an update on the next two elements of strategic plan, service delivery, and community risk reduction. And for that, I will turn it over to start with service delivery. Deputy Chief Snedeker will provide the update on that one.
Good evening. We don't have a whole lot to talk about. The chief actually said, I want you to get up and talk to the board, but make it super quick. His words.
Impactful, I think I said it.
Yeah, you said impactful. One of the parts to talk about under the strategic plan is the 3-person engine companies. We're gonna kind of pass on that because we're gonna talk about that as it pertains to the FEMA grant, SAFER grant. Also, we're gonna talk about evaluating the need for a truck company. I think there's no doubt that there's a need for a truck company in this district. We're gonna have to address that down the line when we have the proper funding to do so. That sort of ties into the next piece, which is our effective response force. We have a good effective response force. It's been addressed. To add to that would be a truck company down the road, but not with, not to give up an engine. So that's our stance on that. And we want to evaluate the fleet maintenance program. That program has been started. It says it's not started here on the slide, but I didn't update it accordingly. But we're in the beginning stages of that. And also evaluate the station alerting system that has not been started. And I can't really speak to that this evening. And last but not least, identify the models to ensure our ERF. I think the chief has done a great job of doing just that. As we move forward with the SAFER grant and the 201 rights, we'll continue to evaluate that as needed. And if you guys have any questions about specifics about that stuff, I'd be happy to talk to you about it, but yes, sir.
So you mentioned that the need for a truck company.
Yeah.
Now, does that take into consideration using the one we have at some point in the future or moving in a future direction?
No, I mean, we have a great truck that at some point when we have the financial means to do so, we'll look to be implementing that.
So I guess to further that question, then, do you see in the future a timeline for using that truck, or is it 6 or 8 years away?
Well, no, I do not see a timeline. I can't give you a timeline for that, and I think it hinges largely on what happens with the assessment of the future and
The assessment
staffing models and the chief's ultimate decision on what he chooses to do with that. Obviously, we need engine companies. We could use more engine companies. So, but in terms of a need for a truck company in the district for fire response, I think we'd all agree that it makes the community safer. Would we put that in front of an engine company? Probably not at this point, but sometime down the future, assuming finances change, we would look at that truck would still have it. Yes, sir.
So there was some talk before you got here, there's been some talk for a while about the truck company and what do we do with that truck because we can't afford to staff it. And the chief was going to have some folks give the board a presentation on justification for that truck company. I would like to see that justification for that truck company and what you and your folks come up with on that justification. I'd like to see that process continue.
So, you know, like I had asked the guys to not present on that because we're not in a situation, not in a position financially where that's possible right now. So, I think when that, but I'd be happy to let them present to you what they have come up with. I can help them.
Well, I think that, sorry to interrupt you, but I think that for me personally, what am I missing? What's the need? Where is the need for that truck company? And if we can't come up with a need, a true operational need for that truck company, why are we sitting on it? And would it behoove us to sell that thing, get what we can get for it, hang on to it, and just continue to maintain it and let it sit? Or do we, sell it and 6 years down the road, purchase one that fits our needs better? So I'm interested to hear operationally how we justify keeping that truck company.
Yeah, I'm not even really speaking to that piece of it. I guess in terms from an operational standpoint for a community, when Folsom has moved their truck and Metro has a large hole, and the two trucks that come on on a residential or commercial response have an extended ETA to get to our fire scene, I think everyone would agree that in a perfect world where money is of no object, that a truck company makes the fire ground safer, and it makes it safer for the citizens inside the fires. That being said, we're, working operationally and at a training level to shore up that imbalance with what we have. If money were of no object, I think everyone would say, that would have a home somewhere in the district. In terms of the financial ramifications and the idea of selling it, that's in the capable hands and in your capable hands to make a decision on that. I have to present to you with the guys an operational, objective operational look at what that would mean for us, but sort of irrelevant if we don't have the money to staff it.
I think though, getting that, the statistics as to when it would be used, how it would be used, what's the frequency of that? What's the frequency that when a truck company sends us outside of our agency, into our agency, that we're actually utilizing them in a full truck capacity? Money aside, would give us the information to be able to make those decisions to go, okay, yeah, if we get the money, then yes, this is the right thing to do. Or if we get the money, yes, a truck is the right thing to do, but maybe it's not this truck. Maybe we have to have something that's a Quint, something with a pump on it, just because of the way that our district is set up. What does that look like? But in order to make those kind of decisions, we need to have that input from you guys to go, this is what we need. This is why we feel we need it. This is what we're looking at when Roseville's truck comes in. Are we using them for aerial support, or are we just using ground lighters? What does it look like? What does that look like, so we can get kind of a better idea of moving forward? Because what we don't want to do is go, yeah, we don't have the money, so we're gonna kick it down the road, and then we have this truck that just sits here and sits here and sits here and basically depreciates in value every year, to the point where now it's like, okay, not only is it not worth selling, it's now not worth keeping either. And we now we get to that point where we're ready to put a truck in service, but this thing has so many things on it that are starting to go bad, or
20 years old.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's the other thing, the other side of it that we don't want to get.
Yeah.
Well,
But having that information would be helpful for us to be able to make those decisions.
And the response area, how many places in South Placer's district can that truck not go?
Sure. Yeah, I missed the mark on giving you that today, but I can give you a good timeline and put it on a future agenda that suits your guys and the chief's needs, and we can address all those things.
The good agenda item for next.
Yes, sir.
Next month.
Yeah, one of the things that would be important to me is to have some kind of a feasibility study that shows how often it would be used, how many outside places it would go to other districts. And I think most importantly, show, is it worth, are we going to get value for the use of it for what it's going to cost us to man it?
Sure.
And that's what I would want to be.
And maintain it, because it's expensive. It's costly, so.
I got all that.
That would be very helpful in trying to make the right decision. Thanks.
Understood. Thanks, Steve.
Next up, we have CRR, or everybody's favorite topic, community risk reduction. You stay over there.
You gotta stay with it. I know over there.
Don't touch that mouse.
I won't touch the mouse.
I can't. I'm just trying to help you
All
out.
right, I'll go here. That's
Okay.
okay.
What's the name?
Please for the mouse.
Talk about risk reduction.
Yeah.
You should put a rubber glove on.
Hey, don't worry about it. So let me give you a brief overview. For community risk reduction from my side, there was a total of 9 specific goals that were assigned to me. With those goals, there was 21 associated tasks. 17 of those tasks were assigned directly to me, and then 4 tasks are seen by me but assigned to other people. To date, we have 3 of the 9 goals have been completed, and 11 of the 21 tasks I've completed as well. So I'm going to just take you quickly through this because, like Darren, I'm trying to do just a brief overview for you. Goal number 1 was to identify current risks that are impacting the district. So we're working on that in conjunction with the local hazard mitigation plan. That's countywide. I'm a big participant in that along with all the other fire districts. And at the end of 2025, December-ish, they'll be releasing that local hazard mitigation plan, which has allowed us to get FEMA funding if we have a disaster here. And within that is a complete list of the risks that are associated with our district. So that is been started, but it's not completed because that plan isn't completed countywide, but it will be completed by the end of the year. There was a specific line item talking about tracking access and egress concerns.
I'm gonna give you an update on this one.
All right.
Just this weekend, we created an app to track this. It's based on geolocation. We'll be rolling that out to company officer training the very next time we have it, and we'll be able to report it in real time, in real locations, and address the issues.
There we go. Thank you, Chief. Number 2 goal was to evaluate current and future staff needs on the fire prevention side. So that goal has been completed. As I've kind of kept you aware, 2025, we've seen a significant drop off on the amount of work that's coming through the Fire Prevention Bureau. Not to say that it's a low amount, but it's more of what we're used to on average and is kind of easily maintained by the 2 staff members that we have. Prior to 2025, I'll be honest with you, and as I've reported many times, we're barely keeping our nose above water. Averaging 70, 75 sets of plans a month coming in, we were struggling. And if it was to keep on going at that level, something was going to need to be done. Based upon the significant drop off that we've seen this year, don't feel that there's any need to look into more staffing on the fire prevention side. We had talked about possibly hiring a plans examiner that to handle our workload. I don't think that's necessary. We have 2 companies we're under contract with that handle our plan reviews, and they're also available to help us with inspections if we need to. We've never really utilized them to do that. So currently that's being completed. You don't feel that there's any need to go any further with that. Goal number 3, determine the cost of community risk reduction. So this will be part of the Nexus study, and you might want to speak a little more.
The next study will come to you in November, December. If you remember from last month, we talked briefly about it's being completed. First reading will be November, 2nd December.
So that'll come as that. Formalizing our public education program. I put down this is completed. We had very successful run just this last couple of weeks with our prevention week. We were actually able to get back into school, something that hasn't occurred since probably 2019. kind of went away with COVID, and then it never really came back. So this year, we visited 5 schools in the Loomis school district. We reached over 600 kids. It was an excellent way to get back involved with the schools. The kids were really receptive to the presentations, and our staff did a wonderful job. They were very personable, just great attention to the kids. I heard a story about a kid that was walking away from the presentation, and one of our staff members overheard him say, "This was the best day at school I've ever had." And it's like, what a cool thing to hear a kid say that. So really happy to be back in the schools. Along with that program, we've also, as you guys know, we started going to a lot of the HOA meetings, having either BC or myself or the chief present. So that's been a good way to do community outreach. We've given defensible space and home hardening presentations at HOAs with Loomis Planning Commission. We've gone many different places with that, presented that presentation to groups to kind of help educate. And then we currently have a spreadsheet that we're tracking these events and then how many individuals we're actually reaching in those events. So like with the schools this year, we have on the spreadsheet, we just have the school name and how many kids were present. Then when we do this again next year, we can kind of compare those numbers. So going forward, we'll be able to see if we're actually that number is increasing, if we're reaching more people. So we just kind of a way just to kind of track it at this point. Goal, yes, sir.
On number 4, will there be a way in the future that you can kind of interface with the Firewise folks on your presentations and meetings?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. We have. So Tim, I think, has seen my presentation a couple of times, and I've given them to we definitely work in conjunction. A lot of the material, in fact, I use Firewise material, Firewise handouts with my presentation because they're so well done and have so much information in them. The county's been really supportive. Jackie Manning, who's up at the
OES.
That's the word. I always said EOC, and I'm like, nope, it's not it. So OES has been really helpful in providing us with that material to pass out. And so, yes, we're definitely, and Tim and I talk on a fairly regular basis, so we're definitely tied in together. Yeah.
So when you're tracking, are you gonna be tracking just schools, or are you also gonna be tracking like?
Any kind of event.
Okay.
So like an HOA
Good,
or
okay.
just how many people were there. Yeah.
And you'll be letting the board know about that too?
Yeah,
That'd be
it's something
great.
that we'll be able to report to you at any
That'd be
time.
great.
And the idea is, on an annual basis, what's the impact, who are we reaching, what are we doing, and report that out.
Those numbers can also be used for future grants.
Absolutely. All right. Goal number 5 had to do with developing relationships with key stakeholders within the community. So we have partnered very closely with the Loomis Unified School District, working on currently, maintenance program for their fleet vehicles. Also, I've been working in conjunction with their people on the upcoming school construction, which is actually handled by the DSA, which is the Division of State Architects, that they've been involving us as the fire district to go, hey, DSA is going to tell us what we need to do, but real world, what do you guys need to do your job at a school, and how can we build a modern school that meets these needs much more closely than they have in the past. And so that relationship has really grown strong over the last few months. Obviously, we partner pretty closely with Placer County Sheriff's Office over the last several years with our joint command centers, with Placer County Sheriff's handling evacuation duties so that we can concentrate on simply mitigating the emergency. So we have a good working relationship with them. Chief has great relationships with their command staff, and that's been a strong relationship that's built over the last few years. Also, I've gotten a lot more involved with planning departments, with Town of Loomis. I've attended some of their meetings, given some presentations at their meetings. With Placer County, we implemented our CFD program, had to get the planning department very involved with that. They're helping us with that, notify developers about the CFD ahead of their projects being actually started, so we'll take them by surprise. So that relationship is continuing to grow. Homeowners associations, it's been very positive. Like I said, we've been going to their meetings, kind of having a presence there and showing our face. So that's definitely a key stakeholder within our community that we want to continue to develop stronger and closer relationships with. And then tying right into Firewise communities and programs. We're definitely involved with that and help and assist in any way that we can. Number 6 was investigate current inspection processes. So looking at our weed abatement program, I can tell you, as I have in the past, that it's been very successful. 24 and 25 season, we've had 0 referrals to the county. As you've heard, doesn't sound like the county would do a whole lot for us at this point, but it's been nice that we've been able to handle all of our complaints in-house. So I feel as if that program is going as well as it can with the way that it currently works. There is a need for electronic inspections. We're going to be addressing that next year. So currently we just have old paper forms that when Katrina and I go out and do new construction inspections, we're checking boxes and signing pieces of paper and handing it to the contractor. Something that I just need to take some time and probably rope Donnie into it a little bit to develop a checklist basically on electronic form. So we'll be able to take an iPad out and be able to do the check boxes on the iPad and email it to the contractor and start kind of the electronic process. So that's forthcoming. Like I said, we'll probably start to see that next year sometime. And then there's talk of expanding non-construction related inspections. We've been working with PCWA and San Juan Water District on the possibility of starting to conduct hydrant inspections in-house, where our crews will actually go out and inspect those hydrants. And so that way they're maintained in a more positive nature. So that's kind of an ongoing project, and we're just in preliminary talks with them on that. All right, trying to wrap this up here for you guys. Goal number 7, enhance customer service opportunities. So we have coming our way on the electronic side will be electronic plan submittal, payment, and review. So instead of the old archaic dinosaur method where developers have to come to our office, they have to write a check, they have to give us paper plans, and they go through the process, they'll be able to go through the county's portal and do everything that they do currently with the county building department with us. The reason that we've waited on that process is we had gotten an initial quote of $60,000 to develop our own program that we could do. When we started talking to the county about that, they said, we're in the process of doing all this on our side. What we would like to do is get that up and running through 2025. And then in 2026, introduce South Placer's, the first fire district, to be a part of that same portal that the developers are currently using for their building submittals. So we're kind of at their mercy, just having to wait till they give us the green light to start that program, but eventually it'll all be handled electronically, no more paper.
Is the county gonna charge us to be in their electronic process?
Because we're already licensed on it as part of the Acela system. So myself and Katrina have access to that system. That's what we currently use anyway to interface with them. And so that is a $60,000 savings to the fire district. So it's worth waiting on. We can deal with paper for a few more months. Number 8, develop community wildfire protection plan. So the kickoff meeting for that is a county-wide program. Just occurred a few weeks ago. I was part of that and on that committee to develop that plan with all the other fire districts and all the stakeholders within the county. Implementation or the completion of that plan is projected out to be the latter part of 26-27. So this is a long range 1-year project, but at the end we will have a community wildfire protection plan. So just have to wait that one out a little bit until it's finished. And then lastly, develop a continuity of operations plan. That will be part of our local hazard mitigation plan. And then I don't know if you have anything to speak to on that. Okay, so the chief, that's one of the ones that I oversee, and he's involved with that. So we'll work on that in kind of conjunction with the local hazard mitigation plan and make sure that happens. So we have that continuity of operations if there's a large scale emergency. So that's all 9 goals. Sorry for how long it was. Try to wrap through it quick, but it's a lot of stuff that I'm working on. So that gives you an idea of what's been completed, what's in progress, and then some of the stuff I'm kind of at the county's mercy while we finish out these law and make the programs. Is there any questions?
I'd just like to say, great job. Looks like you're working hard to accomplish all these things for the strategic goals. And I truly appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you use county codes when you go out, or are there fire codes that you use?
So we use the California fire codes. So we adopt the fire code. And you guys will actually be doing that here a little bit later on in the meeting. So it's California fire code with our local amendments attached. So our local amendments are things that are more restrictive than just model code, things that are specific to our community. And so we've enacted those many years ago to build those up to meet our specific needs, but it's all handled, it's the California.
And do you have a relationship with our county code enforcement?
Yes.
And,
So-
and what is that and what do they do and can they do?
So my only relationship with county code enforcement, my only interaction on the county side has been with our weed abatement program. So when I first took that over in 2020, they came in, we actually have an MOU between us and them that will allow county code officials or code enforcement to come down and do weed abatement enforcement within our jurisdiction if we ask them to or if we need them to. So there was, at the onset of our program, there was some occasions where we would go through the process, do everything we could to get a property abated, and getting no luck. We could then punt it over to the county. County at that time was telling us they could put a lien on the property, or they could abate the property and charge the owner, do things that we couldn't do. So it was a good partnership for us. If we had difficulty in achieving success with weed abatement, then they could kind of take it a little further. So that was really my only interaction with county code enforcement was on that side. As I reported a couple slides ago, for the 24 season and 25 season, we haven't had to punt any their way. We handled them all in-house and able to complete them. So I haven't had a lot of interaction with them the last several years. Thank you.
All right, one last item was a strategic plan update. The Initiative 6, which has been created, which is now the board goals, and you can see it on page 36 in your packet, has been added to the plan. The one thing that I didn't get was there's an outcome statement. And from you as the board, what do you want your outcome statement for? The administrative goals and objectives and board goals for the initiative to be. I didn't recall if we had, if we had something written, or if you want to create something now, or you want to think about it, and we can bring this portion back as we will talk about the strategic plan. Thanks.
I think we can kind of think about it. Yeah, we'll bring it back in the next meeting. Perfect to come up with that portion of this more goals. Initiative 6.
Very good. So we'll remove Chief Feely's name as the initiative. All right.
2025, sorry, quick thought.
So this is the second reading for that. You guys saw it for the first time last meeting. As I explained to you, because of AB 130 that went into place, we weren't allowed to add any new local amendments this year. There's a moratorium on it until 2031, so it's a 6-year moratorium on any new local amendments, but it doesn't restrict us from carrying over our existing ones. So the code, what we're asking is that the board adopts the 2025 fire code to go into effect January 1st of this year, as it's written, just as the California Fire Code, and then carry forward our existing amendment that we've used over the last several code cycles, so that we still have those. With a resolution tonight, that will solidify things at the district level, and then I will take that information, our resolution, turn it over to the county, and in December, they will ratify it along with all of the other districts and building departments within the county, and then everything will go into effect January 1st. Is there any questions on that from the board? Pretty straightforward.
Questions from the public?
Make a motion to adopt the 22 fire code
25.
or 25 fire code with the amendments included.
I second it.
Brenda?
Aye.
Musso?
Aye.
Director Gibson?
Aye.
Ms. Helton?
Aye.
Director Flanagan?
Aye.
Director Davis?
Aye.
And Director Vallego?
Aye.
Passes with 7.
Thank you.
New business, district-wide ambulance services.
So this is a discussion and approval to provide notice to the local EMS agency via the county regarding the extension of our district-wide ambulance services as was authorized through LAFCO and our 2-1 rights effective March of 2024. Before you, and I'll share around, we have a sample letter. Basically, essentially saying, hey, effective December 1st, we will be providing ambulance services in the town of Loomis. Turn it over to the board.
Questions from the public?
Where will they be stationed?
Initially, we'll be responding out of Station 19 and determine the demand and the volume, and then we'll make adjustments as needed.
So we'll have 3 ambulances,
2 for now.
2.
We believe there's enough capacity to support. We use a measurement called unit hour utilization, and that's how many hours during the day is it busy. A typical ambulance needs to be, an additional ambulance needs to be added at about 30%. As you'll see here later today, we're running somewhere between 10 and 15% for all of our units. And so we believe, based on projections and capacity right now, we have the ability to serve that. And if you'll remember, because you're sharp, we also have that additional ambulance that we got, the ISRM, the in-service reserve, that will be put into service to cover the district should it be needed.
So do you have a plan where like 19 covers a certain area and 16, and you're going to move 16 back to 15?
You're getting ahead of the game, but yes.
But I just wonder if that's going to dilute the service to our area, because 19's been pretty busy.
So when you say our area, I'm assuming you mean the entire South Placer Fire District. Yes, we're going to have capacity, and then we're going to monitor that regularly, and we'll make adjustments as needed.
That's going to work. And we have so many retirement places that get calls several times a week. Maybe that extra ambulance could go to those calls because they're usually not too severe.
Any other comments from the public? Anything more from the board? Nope. I'll need a motion to approve the letter.
I approve the motion to the letter on ambulance service.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Nope. Adoption of the consolidation South Placer Fire District report for fire impact fee program.
So this is the annual approval and adoption of a resolution for the fire impact fee program for the government code. The district is required to prepare and present a report every year on how we spent our impact fees. There were no requests for the report. It's posted to the website for review, and we're recommending a motion for adoption of the resolution.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? So we will need a motion to adopt the resolution.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution.
I second it.
Roll call.
Dr. Randall, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Musso,
Aye.
Dr. Gibson,
Aye.
Dr. Windeshausen,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Hi.
Dr. Veda.
Aye.
And Director Gallegos.
Aye.
And that passes to 7.
PG&E easement authorization.
So at Station 18, we have that empty property behind the station where it was recently asphalted due to the kindness and largesse of Supervisor DiMattei and some donations that he received. This is a discussion authorization to enter into an agreement with PG&E to create an easement now on that property, because the cell tower, which we previously approved as a board and will be collecting additional revenue for, has a requirement under the FCC to put in a backup generator. We've already deeded them or rented them the land. They're now getting ready for construction, and they found out that they need utilities taken to that. They want to create an easement on what appears to be the southern part of the property running along the fence line. That easement will be essentially 10 feet wide and then run it at a 90 degree into the back of the existing power structure. It needs gas electric, vendor's asking for an easement. The easement includes language that the vendor is responsible for all the work and replacement and making it whole again. The only caveat is that if in the future we decide to build something, we can construct no permanent structures over the easement. It looks like it's pretty far outside of the footprint of the land anyway. So my recommendation is that you approve the easement so that they can upgrade their cell tower, unless you have some other concerns that I will be more than happy to answer.
How long is the easement for?
Ever?
So there's no up to date, I mean, where we could pull back if we want.
No, there's no language out. Once you commit to it, it's an easement. Unless they remove the cell tower and its facilities, then we would have no recourse.
What would happen if we did not approve this?
I don't know. That's a great question. Really, they're stuck because they don't have gas and electric to the site to install their utilities, and you don't have to approve it.
A couple of questions. The way I read this, I don't know who the cell tower is owned by, but that's a separate entity that we are getting rent for that cell tower.
We own the tower.
Yep.
We rent space on the tower that the cell companies hang their equipment on.
Okay, so who needs this easement? It's for PG&E to get the utilities there.
Yes,
It's
but
to PG&E.
yes, but the vendor is American Tower, I believe, is who has the rent for the property.
So there's a little dot that's half filled in and half not. What I'm trying to figure out is what the alignment of this easement is. That dot where the electricity comes in is what I'm wondering. And
It's
can
an
this
existing
easement?
electricity pole.
Okay, so that's probably where it's coming from and going down underground at that point.
Well, this is mostly for gas, but they asked to run electric as well in the same.
So I'm just wondering if this easement, this might be the easiest and the cheapest for PG&E, but can there be a realignment so that it goes on the edge of one parcel so that one property line, so that it's more to the borders of the property line. So if we ever did want to build something over that, whose footprint is over that, it would be less likely to
Never build.
impair our ability to do that.
Well, we couldn't do it if there was an easement.
No, right, but if
So
it
we-
was realigned, so it went to the edge of the property lines or even onto parcel 20 instead of,
Parcel 20 is not ours.
oh, okay. I got the impression it
Run along
was.
the fence
I
line.
thought that's where the house, we sold that. We used to own it.
So this is the property that the house was on.
Oh, okay.
Parcel 020 is the neighbor. There's,
Okay.
that line right now is a CMU concrete fence wall, so, that exists. And what they're saying is they want to trench along that wall and run their gas utilities down the wall and then make a 90 into where the structure is.
So one line says 75 plus or minus and the other says 70 plus or minus.
Yes,
The wall, the dotted line that's 70 plus or minus is the one that's adjacent to the wall.
75 plus or minus is adjacent to the wall.
So I'm really talking about 70 plus or minus and moving that northwest.
They would have to come back because they're essentially running into where the utility, the generator is gonna go. But what you're asking is to say, run it.
Further up.
More
Yeah.
along the property line so that we are less impaired on any future
The part
ability
where
to
it's gonna
locate.
impair us is so where it runs along the current wall, that really, the 10-foot easement isn't really gonna impact us in the future because we're not gonna be able to build closer than 10 feet to that wall anyway. So that's not really an impact.
It's the
Where
front.
it impacts is when it does the 90 and then comes over to the existing cell tower.
Right.
So there'll be a portion of the land right there where we wouldn't be able to build anything for that. They're always gonna have to come over. But what I think what you're saying is to go further more towards City Hall area,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
building.
Exactly.
Then they would come over, come
Yes,
down along the edge of the existing
yes.
line and then 90 over. So
Yeah,
there's
because
more
I just know
flexibility.
that when PG&E draws the line, they draw it,
The most, it's the shortest.
what's,
Yeah.
it is the most efficient and cost effective for them.
Does that make sense?
And
Chief?
that might not be in our best interest.
So
So
they can take that 75 and push it out further and then make the cut across and then
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah.
to-
More towards the alleyway.
well, so what they're doing is they're coming down here 75 feet
And they're cutting right
and then
there.
they're cutting straight over.
Yeah,
Right.
and we're saying, no,
So
go
you
north
want to
more.
go further down.
Yep. Yep.
In,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I'll make the ask.
That way it
That
just
way
gives us a little
leaves
more
our
flexibility in that
into it.
narrower.
What is the generator for and who is it?
it's for the cell tower. So
It's a
if the
backup.
tower, if the power goes out, there's,
Oh, okay.
so isn't there already a pipe through the wall? That's a PG&E pipe that went straight and we had to stop when we were building that wall anyway?
Not on the wall side, but we did ask them to explore. It looked like there was some conduit that was closer to the,
Cause I thought it went straight to underneath the wall when we were digging.
there was some stuff that we found underneath there, but I believe it was moved out. There is an indirect benefit too to the fire district because that emergency generator that's there currently also will supply emergency power to the station. So when it was installed, part of the agreement was we're gonna have the backup generator there. It'll actually be the backup generator for Station 18. Now, because of FCC regulations, they're being required to put in a backup generator to the primary generator. So indirectly, it does benefit us if there was an outage, the first generator didn't work, the second generator will kick on, and that'll help supply power to the station too. We do have a small,
That's nice to know.
and the reason that I believe that they're doing this is because in the current generator that's there was a diesel powered generator, and because of air regulations and clean air requirements, now they're not doing diesel generators anymore, and that's why they need to run this one off natural gas. So that's why they can't just do a standalone generator with a tank.
My other comment is, so we're renting space on this cell tower. There's been no offer for payment for this easement from PG&E.
The easement they won't pay for, but we are receiving $325 for the ground lease for the site of the generator.
Per month.
Per month. You can ask
I have a
for
feeling Janine wants to ask for more.
payment for the easement.
But then we're talking to somebody else about it, right?
Just,
Well, I hate giving up flexibility of a property. You don't know what you're gonna need, down the road. And to allow that easement, and not be able to
Use it properly.
use it properly, I don't think that's in the best interest of the department.
I think if the easement falls within the area that we cannot build in to begin with, then I have a problem with that. But when it cuts across the middle there, like that, which encroaches on that ability to be able to build, I think there's an issue.
Okay. Get in communication and look for this at the next meeting.
Thank you.
There's a question right there.
Go ahead, Gary.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just regarding the easement, if it's a lifetime easement, I don't know, I mean, obviously you said that PG&E won't pay for anything, but will they maybe, if you negotiate, will they reduce like their fees that they charge the fire department and all the stations? A little bit.
And
5 or 10%.
I don't
know.
think they can under PUC regulation, Public Utilities Commission. Their rates are approved by the PUC.
Okay.
So I don't think they have the capacity to do a negotiation like that.
And I believe that's the same reason they're not gonna pay for the easement either, in terms of revenue coming in, but we'll ask.
2025-2026 long-term facilities maintenance apparatus replacement and
So as part of our impact fee assessment and going to the county in terms of getting all of our ability to have those impact fees assessed at the county level, we have to have current and updated long-term plans. In the packet, you'll see an apparatus, facility, and major equipment plan that addresses the needs for the next 5 to 15 years, I think. With some ideas on how the revenue coming in and how we would spend that money. The board is required to approve those plans so that we can then work with the county to assess impact fees. And with that, I'll answer any questions you may have. We do this annually, by the way, if I didn't say that already.
questions from the board.
Is there a specified yearly time frame for replacement?
Yeah, I believe mostly we're using, if we're talking about apparatus, I believe we're using 10-year for light duty. Mostly 15 or 20-year for heavy equipment. Some of it looks like it's 25 as well. Just we have the ability with the usage pattern that we have and moving things into reserve that we have some greater longevity.
I have another question, because this goes out to 29-30, and the cost for apparatus has greatly exceeded regular CPI, and I'm just wondering about the escalator assumptions we're using.
So we have tried to account for a lot of that in here, but since, as you noted, it's very volatile right now.
Is it volatile or is it
Well, it's volatile in some direction.
astronomical?
Yeah, you pick the word.
Because I just see the conditions where the manufacturing consolidation that has happened and the ownership by hedge funds of manufacturers that I just don't really see cost controls there.
They're bringing bills to Congress to address this issue.
Heard that recently.
Mind you, they're closed, but hopefully someday they'll be opened up so we can see what that conversation entails. But yeah, so no, a lot of this is a stab. The traditional CPIs and historical rates of increase no longer really apply. And so, yeah, best guess.
Just, we're talking 25-50%, not
Yeah.
2, 4, 5%.
Or correct.
So, okay, duly noted.
And if I could project that, we'd be all sitting on a beach somewhere. Like, gross margaritas.
Yeah, I think conditions
Yes.
are such that right now, I mean, great, Congress is looking at that, but they're
Well,
not
we
even doing
should-
business right now. They're not even open for business.
After the approval of the purchase of this engine, we should be in all of our equipment is, the heavy equipment's 6 years, 4 years older or less. So we should be in a good position for a while.
Unless we decide to get acquainted, which would be 2.5 million or 3 or 4 million.
That's not in the budget.
Yeah, right. That's one. But keep ours. That's the cheapest one.
Unless you want to donate one, Chris.
Or you can donate one too.
I'll put this up later.
Yeah. Hey, that won't get you even the tire to the Continental tire on the front of that truck there.
Their question?
Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the long-term plans for apparatus facilities and major equipment.
I second it.
All in favor?
Right. SAFER grant, approved service delivery to community. The board authorized the application of the staffing for adequate fire and emergency response SAFER grant. The past 6 to 8 months. We've applied over the last 3 years. This year we were successful. This will be one position, FTE, which is essentially 3 bodies, to bring all engine companies to 3O staffing. District cost is 25% of the cost in years 1 and 2, and 65% in years 3. There's a typo in the board packet. It's actually, I believe, $475,000 costs the district over the 3-year life. It's about $100,000 in year 1, $100,000 in year 2, and then $275,000 in year 3. We currently have the revenue to support the first 2 years. The 3rd year, as we look at projections from housing, I believe that is there as well. And again, this is to the board. You can choose to accept it or deny it. It was due today. However, since FEMA is shut down, they just sent an email out before this meeting that said they're extending. I mean, like shut down, like you can't even get into the website. So some of this is guesses because they awarded us the grant. 2 days later, the government shut down and you couldn't access what the actual award is in terms of dollars. So the numbers may be a little bit different. This is high best guess. It's up to the board, and should you choose to accept it, there's some recommendations for planning. The pros to accepting it, we will be able to increase our staffing at Station 16, 3 personnel, which is currently 2. The con to that is not enough space to house 5 personnel. All engines will have the same staffing. One of the concepts is opening of Station 15, similar to what we did with 19s, move that ambulance out of 16s, move it down to Station 15, increase our footprint and our span and reduce our response times. This would improve safety for the personnel with 3-person engine companies and reduce our response times through the district. Something I want to show you, and I don't know if you can read it. This chart is a representation of everywhere this year that we have a response time over the district goal of 8 minutes. Now, if you look down there in the lower left-hand corner of that map, you'll see 119 times this year we've had a response over 8 minutes. That would be alleviated by moving that medic unit from 16s to 15s. If they're in station, in service, they will reduce that time dramatically. Everywhere else on that map, you can see mostly in the 14, 15s, there's a section there in the middle of the map that's at about 46. I'm going to take a look and see why that one exists. But this is a substantial and significant impact to our community. Now, to say all of this, the elephant in the room is we need funding at the end of 3 years to support this. There's no other way to put it. So if you're approving this, you'll see, I think the next item on the agenda is to talk about doing an assessment of the community on whether or not they support some kind of tax revenue increase assessment. And I think these two are really hand in hand. If you're not looking to increase revenue, I would say we turn this down and we figure out other options and we operate within the means that we have. SAFER is allowing us an on-ramp to increasing service, increasing safety, and increasing response times. But it's not putting us on the freeway in a car to get there. I think I have a few more points. Staffing costs are generally reduced over the life of the grant. The other aspect is the way this grant hits. You would technically have 2 election cycles to go after some kind of assessment or additional revenue. You have 26 and you have 28 as well. So I believe with all of that said, I will open up to discussion and questions.
So this is essentially a 3-year matching grant. And if staff is hired, and it is specifically for staffing, at the end of 3 years, if we can't bring additional revenue, then we lay off that stuff.
Then we don't have the funding to support it.
Okay, and, at the end of 3 years, is there another grant opportunity? So is there the potential for another 3-year grant?
Technically, yes. I'm gonna say they're probably not very inclined to continue to keep granting on the same. And I believe the way, I'd have to go confirm with the notice of funding. You would have to lay those positions off and then hire new people to put them back, put new people in the position.
And what is our level of attrition due to retirement in the next 3 years?
That's, well, currently we're sitting on a number of open spots that we could filter them in from safer to staffing roles positions. If we happen to fill all those, I'd have to go get the numbers. I don't know off the top of my head.
You know, even though we're rolling the dice, I'm for it. Because it gives us 3 years of 3.0 staffing, which makes it way safer for those guys. And I'm ready, I'm willing to gamble. I mean, we call it a gamble, but it's 3 years safer for them.
I think we're working real hard to, this time, to get a measure to pass. And I think the community, with the fact that 15's been closed and 19 had been closed, and with all the insurance problems that people are experiencing, obviously the popularity in Firewise and prevention, I think it's worth the risk. I think it's something we ought to pursue and accept.
Just a point of clarification. So to bring on an additional 3 personnel, the grant ends in 3 years. They automatically lose their spots?
No, if we have open positions, we can move them in.
Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying.
Sure.
So I support it with the caveat that if and when we approve and we start hiring, that we don't brag too heavily about opening that station, because the optics are gonna be when we go out for an assessment. Well, why do we need an assessment? All of your closed stations are now open. So we're gonna have to be very, very careful about how the optics of that. And I do think we should take that chance, but we need to be very, very careful about how we promote that and toot our own horn in the community about how we've opened both closed stations. Because that will close a lot of minds to a new assessment.
I think it needs to come out that we required a short-term grant to increase our staffing level.
One-time funding.
One-time funding. This is a stopgap to, hopefully get us to where we need to be.
We're doing it for everything.
And then also the stuff like what we did with 19, so where it's
So
just a medic to help with response times and.
So just like the informational packet that we all just approved, I'm just gonna throw it out here. I asked probably 4 times that in the verbiage of the SAFER grant, that we put the caveat in that it was one-time funding and it never made it. So I really think that is important, that the community knows that it's just a temporary gift, temporary, EBT for the fire department.
Public comment.
Our concerns are similar. The current optics for 19 is that it's an open station. There are some people obviously that are educated, especially the people who live there, know there's not a fire engine, but by and large, when we go on calls, people comment all the time, man, it's great to see your station back open. And we're like, so that is a legitimate concern. Similar to the truck conversation, we have a truck, we don't have the resources to staff the truck currently. What's the need for the truck? I think, like Chief Sned said, everybody knows that a truck would be very beneficial on a structured fire response, regardless of how many we have. Just the functions of a truck and the way it works, very beneficial. Whether we need it or not currently or in the future, obviously needs assessment. Similarly, from the fire side, labor side, 3.0 engine companies are like gold standard. Absolutely, it's a safety. Can we afford it right now? Because this isn't unlike our past safer grants. We had some that were 100% safer grants. So it's like 100%, let's do this because it's no cost to us. This does have a significant cost at a time when our budget is extremely constrained and extremely tight. And taking that 475,000 or whatever it ends up being, our 65 that we're going to be paying 3 additional personnel. When we face the recruitment and retention problems that we currently face and are really trying hard, as you mentioned, really doing a good job trying to get proactive on this, it's twofold kind of causing us as labor some pretty significant fear. Like, yes, we want 3.0 companies, but is it the right time right now? You know, there's a lot of things I want. I want a 16-inch, you know, fish finder on my boat, but I'm not putting that on right. You know what I mean? Like what we absolutely are striving for to better the service to the community. We have to really weigh that in. Is that 475,000 over the next 3 years better invested in current employees to try and keep them so that we maintain a very well experienced and time on the job personnel versus a brand new guy that we probably wouldn't have to lay off, like the chief said. We have open positions and would probably be able to slide, and we're not gonna have to lay those guys off because our attrition is such, the retention of problem that we have. But it is very concerning to labor on the, because of those issues, and so we're very hesitant. We're very hesitant. We definitely see the pros, like it's undeniable, but we're really concerned about the costs. That's all. Thank you.
Anything else from the public? Anything else from the board?
A motion to accept the safer grant award.
In a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Sorry. Yes,
So it's an aye. Okay,
aye,
just checking.
sorry.
Please.
She was
Deep in
looking at the
thought,
next
she was a
item.
yeah.
No, I was getting ready for the next item.
All right. Approval for funding measure feasibility and public opinion research.
District board formed an ad hoc committee to evaluate options for additional funding. Options have included special taxes, benefit assessments, parcel taxes, and even a sales tax was floated, although it would have to be countywide measure because we can't actually implement a sales tax as a district. It would have to come from the county. Key factors for exploring the funding, including staffing, station operations, wages and benefits, facilities and infrastructure, and apparatus and equipment. The committee had settled on some final ideas, but it is imperative that we understand the community's opinion on this matter and what the level of knowledge and support is for this. Staff is seeking approval to enter into agreement with FM3, the company that performed the last survey, to conduct a public opinion research to see if the district measure is viable before moving forward with the process. The cost is up to $32,000, depending on the length and number of interviews or surveys. I'll turn it over.
Question. The $29,000 that we spent on PR. I'm kind of wondering if that might be a little bit of an overlap, and then we spend $32,000 on top of that.
So
what is the difference?
So FM3 is a data research firm that will come back with a poll with very precise measurement. This is what they do. They do public opinion survey, and they're usually a percentage point or two off of what a vote would actually be. So they're going to go out. We're going to give them some ideas on numbers, ideas, concepts. They're going to put that into a survey. They're going to go perform public opinion research and come back to you with this is supported, this isn't supported. Here's what the numbers are. Here's what this shows. This is what they do. It's like asking shade tree mechanic to work on your high-end exotic. He may be able to work his way around the car, but he doesn't know the specifics of what's going on. PR can kind of give you an idea, but they're not gonna be the ones that are gonna give you actionable intelligence, because the next, if you get this information back, you're gonna make a multi-$100,000 decision on whether you want to go for an assessment. And that's real money to the district. Before we do that, this small investment in time and money will give you an idea of where we are, what we need to do. Is this viable, go, no go kind of situation? I think it's an investment that, while upfront seems expensive, will garner or provide real insight into the possibilities.
So on a timeline basis, when would this start?
ASAP, be done hopefully by, what was the end of November, beginning of December, with stuff back by the end of the year, so that you can make some decisions.
Okay, so I'm not wanting to be critical of the money that we spent to the PR firm, but don't we need to do more PR before we do a study like this? I mean, I'm not seeing that $29,000 being used as well as it should be being used.
I guess I would ask you what your definition of as well as you think it should be, because I would argue that we spend a lot of time going out into the public, and at least myself and the administrative staff, we're going all the time to a bunch of different places that we weren't even touching before, based on social media, constant reach outs, networking. There's just, I don't know, I see the value in it, but if you're not seeing the value, you're the board and you need to make those hard decisions.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, you've always been going out, and I have been trying to go out as much as possible with you on things, and I think you're aware of that. I don't know if doing that feasibility study at this point, without, I guess people that I talk to have commented that they haven't seen a whole lot of a PR. And, I talked to you when things come out on the South Placer Fire District, I share those with next door neighbor and all that stuff. And you said that there might be some reasons why you legally can't do that. But it just seems like, I don't know if it's reaching the community as well as it should be. And then doing a feasibility study, if they can come within 1% of what the vote's going to be and help you make a decision, I'm all for that. And that's what money well spent. But I think maybe the community should be primed a little bit better before they start doing feasibility studies.
Gary, but how about, Facebook, when we, Station 17, when we had the open house, the place was packed, and I left early. I mean, that's part of that advertising and getting people to come into the station. What we see, 500 that day?
Yeah.
That's awesome, and that's part of that.
But did you see what who was there?
I mean, the parents and the kids.
Yeah, a large percentage of the people that came weren't even in Placer County.
How do you know that? Just out of curiosity.
Well, because you and I have talked about it, and we knew that a whole lot of the folks that came, they were coming from Rancho Cordova and different places like that. Doing the PR the way that was done, I didn't think that we were targeting our voters, our community, as well as maybe we could have.
From what I understand, and I'll tell you, I'm a social media idiot. Just start with that. But what their goal and what their objective was, they targeted specific individuals in the district, in the county. Now, if that grew up and blossomed to, hey, I live over off of XYZ street, but my family's in Orangeville and I invited everybody to come, that happened, but I'll tell you, a turnout of 500 people is unheard of at any of our events. And so to go from, I don't know, 30 to 50 at a typical open house to 500, that's an undeniable impact.
No, that was a wonderful thing, and, you know, I enjoyed all those people being there.
But that's,
But
But that's part of that social media.
again, you guys are the board and you get to pick and choose on how you.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not, you
Oh, and
know.
I appreciate that. But they're two different things, right? One is we're campaigning, we're getting out, we're trying to educate the community. Could we do more? Yes, I don't disagree. However, we're running up against some timelines. You're 13, 12 and a half months away from an election that if that's the direction we're gonna go, we need to start doing something and understanding. Like I said, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cost, personnel time, manpower, effort, some volunteerism from some members of the membership. I mean, this isn't a small lift.
Will this data help us write how the assessment is written?
Yes.
So that in my mind is the big.
Yeah, do you guys remember
The one we did.
I dropped the ball by not having a copy of the last report here, and I will send it out at large. But it's very specific on the questions and how you form them and what the responses are. Will you support something? How much would you support? What does this look like? What are the important factors that you would support something for? Is it opening stations? Is it 3-person engine companies? Is it wages and benefits? Is it whatever? And that's, again, this is what they do day in and day out. You have information on the timeline that the Cherry was talking about? I don't have it with me. I apologize for not bringing it.
The timeline on what?
Cherry.
On getting to that election process in November. The dates that were like, if you need to have this done by this date, this done by this date. those-
Yeah, it's around June is kind of.
Yeah,
I know.
I think there's a bigger risk to not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused by this item because it says under background in the first paragraph that it's try to determine funding options, parcel taxes, benefit assessment, general or special taxes. But the proposal is very specific to going to an election in November of 2026. So to me, that precludes benefit assessment or special taxes or potential Loomis overlay. So that's, to me, that's not what we're asking. We are asking them, according to this, to do research specific to a ballot measure and not to a benefit assessment. And I just want to make sure that folks understand there's a difference between what we did last time, which was a benefit assessment, and a ballot measure. There's differences on voter thresholds, and who votes. There's differences on who votes. There's differences on how you can spend the money, et cetera. So it's just not, it's not, to me, the action item and what the proposal says are not consistent. And so I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay, so we had them throw together a proposal to give us an idea on what the cost was. It may not be specifically what you all are looking for or what the direction is. I needed to get something to give you a number. And without having at least some idea to give them to assess the level of work, we said, hey, make it X, Y, Z. This is the timeline. Can you give us a proposal for that? So that's my fault, my bad for picking something. It should have been more broad, but the cost doesn't change and you'll get to drive the bus on what you're listening.
So that's another question I have, because the action item doesn't speak to cost. The proposal does. And then this PowerPoint says cost is approximately 32,000. I'm kind of used to seeing authorizations that are on authorization to do a contract in an amount like not to exceed. So if that's the other thing is I'm not clear on exactly what we're approving in terms of
Well,
cost.
and what is what's our policy for your authority to enter a contract? There's got to be a number.
75,000.
75,000. So this company that we essentially picked, if we approve this, are they the same company that did the last one?
What do you mean by the last one? Because I'm
The last,
sensing some hesitation or I need to understand what your idea of last one is.
well, the last report that came in after the last assessment that
Yes.
failed, it's the same company
Yes.
that gave us all of that data. Have we looked at other companies that might be more successful or,
They're the gold standard,
okay?
but I would be more than happy to.
I'm just asking because I don't know. And if we approve this, I want our chances to be the best they can be, right? And so I don't,
Do I?
and I don't know enough about this company. In your opinion, they are the gold standard and they would be the best company for this specific task.
The gold standard for what? For school district bond measures, for fire district assessments, for
Say yes in general. This is what they specialize in is revenue measures and assessing. Town of Loomis has used them, Placer County has used them, we've used them. I can get you a list of referrals, but it's long.
Please don't take this personally. We all, or several of us just have some questions. I think ultimately the goal is to get there, but there's several of us that have some questions. And I know that the only hesitation is just not really clear. Not that we don't want to support this. So, I don't
I'm
get
not taking
frustrated
it personally, and I'm not
Don't get frustrated
I'm
with
trying
us.
to
We're trying to figure it out.
But it's asked of me, and I believe that if we're looking at some kind of measure, which it sounds like maybe there's some hesitation on that portion to begin with.
No,
no, I think we want to go
Okay.
forward with something, but
So then this is a mechanism to figure out what that is, what the cost is, what this looks like, what the public supported, is the public educated, all of those questions that I think we all have. Let's figure that out.
this is really specific. This proposal says, our understanding is that this research is intended to assess the viability of two potential ballot measures on the same ballot. One measure repealing an antiquated tax applied in some portions of the district, and a second measure establishing a new modernized tax generating funding for the district through a more equitable formula. That's really specific.
100% correct. I will have it reworded so that it's much more vague. Because that was taken from the consultant from the PR consultant to the firm. I didn't take a look at what that was. And like I said, we were rushing to get a number by the board packet being printed. I think she took some liberties. That's not what we're supporting. I want to see what the best options are.
And I'd like to see the ad hoc committee give an update to the board before they're taking actions like this. And to Gary's point a little bit, I think there's a difference between PR that is, this is who we are, this is where we are, this is what we do, and PR that educates specifically about the district's finances and financial challenges. I just want to say that I think there's a difference between those two things. It's not that they're incompatible. And it's great if we can provide that education as we're doing more general PR.
I'd like to see something to the effect on the PR, like, you need us, but we need you. And it's a relationship, and there hasn't been any PR that's been put out like that.
It's a great tagline.
A campaign slogan?
It is.
You know, I just think that, and I've talked to you this before, we're spending that kind of money. I expect more from the PR company, but now we're gonna go ahead and spend more money to do a feasibility study that could have better results if the PR firm would have done a better job in the first place.
I think the finance side of the PR, I think, is something that needs to be done. I don't know when that was gonna start, but the only thing I see is, I think you actually have to have some sort of an idea of what you want to go for before you put this out. Because we can't go out there and go, you know, a ballot measure or this ballot measure or an assessment or this or that, and that's just gonna do what we had last time, which was you want to pay this much, you want to pay that much, and then we're going to select something out here that's totally different than what those were, and it just caused all kinds of chaos.
Yeah.
So we have to decide as a board, what way do we feel that we're going? Are we going a ballot measure? Are we going an assessment? And then start moving forward. But on the flip side of that is, we need that information to decide. If this comes back and they're like, yeah, you're still way out there for a ballot measure, okay, well then maybe we need to see about what it would take for a benefit assessment or something.
This is really specific, and I don't think it gives us that information. And
But what I'm saying though is to me, this is specific as in FM3, go out and see what a ballot measure would do for us.
and then
And then when it
do
comes
another
back and
one
they go,
that
hey,
says, this is what
the
a
ballot measure is gonna pass for you guys with no problem. We're showing, you know, well over the threshold. We think that's the way to go, you know, or it comes back and says, you know what? You still don't have it. You don't have what you need to get a ballot measure. Okay, then we need to go back and look at, okay, so what other options do we have? We have a benefit assessment. Is there somebody in the community that wants to do something? Is there, what else is out there that we can do?
But I think to Janine's point is that scope of work needs to cover all of those. And when that information comes back, it has the information that tells us which direction to go.
Well, I think
So
when you go to try to cover all those at the same time.
so if we go specific and that's all they give us, and then we have to go back out to them and pay them another $32,000 to look at the other options. If we include in that scope of work, all of the options that are possible for us, that are realistic, you know, with timeframes and all of that. So, you know, if we decide a midterm or whatever, and what those timeframes are, and we open that up, we could get all of the information from that company and then make an educated decision as to which way we need to go in this process.
So I think we need to reach back out to FM3 and go, is this something that's feasible to do a survey that is inclusive of a ballot measure and a benefit assessment or whatever else at the same time? Because what I'm saying is, before, everything that came out, because it was going in two different directions at the same time, which is what you're proposing right now. It was so confusing to the people here, and that's one of the reasons why this failed miserably.
And if this isn't concise, I think you're right. To the point of, you all need to decide what you want to do. I mean, that's it. We've got, you know, this is written for a very narrow thing, right? But then I hear benefit assessment, I hear tax overlay, I hear all of these things. Great. I don't care what it is. I don't care what we pull for, but if we're pulling for multiple things to these people, they're gonna get confused, and that's gonna cause insecurities, and they're all gonna say no. And
You mean when they go out and start asking the questions?
yes, because as soon as you ask the questions, and this is what we experienced last time, hey, you're gonna pay 210 and you're gonna pay 240 and you're gonna pay 700, and the community got super confused, and the community shut down and said no. Good. So.
And that's point taken, right? From your experience in the last one, I totally hear you. I just want to make sure that.
And if we're using this assessment, give me one more second, Chris, please. If we're using this assessment to see which method would work, I think we're doing a disservice to spending the 32,000.
But see, that's what you're.
You're focused on the detail of on the specific detail of the proposal. I get that. I'm telling you, I made a mistake. I allowed that to happen. This is something that was written in a day and a half to give us an idea of what this would cost the district. We can come back with a more detailed proposal that takes that out and says, whatever it is, what do you want to research? What's the specific thing, which I think is the conversation that needs to be had. What vehicle do you want to use to get to the end of the destination? And what I understand is nobody's sure. Is that fair?
I know
We
Chris
want
wants to
whatever's
say
gonna work, right? But how do we, how do we know, obviously doing the study, but, and we support. I think we support it. I think there's several of us that aren't really sure that that specific language is going to get us the data that we need.
I don't disagree with you. And this, Chris, I'm sorry.
Why don't we approve it and ask him to put the language that we're looking for in it and get it done tonight?
Okay,
That's
so-
what I'm trying to
I
say.
don't want you to approve it.
Okay.
What this is more a point to, and I think I'm hearing, is y'all need to, again, figure out what you want to do
Exactly.
before we move forward with spending money. The problem is we're running out of time.
Yeah, so, a couple things. One, I have a little bit of a concern about the timing, because if you're doing a survey now for an election that's gonna occur from a year, the political climate that is impacted by things like the economy, politics at state and federal levels can change that climate significantly. And I think there's time to do a survey on whatever it is we decide to do, like more towards early spring, late winter. The other thing, if I were to do a survey now, what I would want to do a survey on is how effective has our PR campaign been to date, with all due respect. So there's one perspective that it hasn't been as successful as we might like it to be. Others of us might think that it's been highly successful. And I think it has been, personally, I think it has been highly successful in certain regards. I'd rather do a survey on, is our PR being effective in terms of educating our constituency about what our fiscal challenges are at this time? And then we can tweak that so that we can make sure that we are effective on getting that message out. That's.
And I'm not going to purport to be the expert on any of this stuff. And so a lot of what I'm giving you is direction and feedback from FM3 and Cherry and probably better to have them in the room at the next meeting to discuss why we're choosing these timelines, what the direction is, all of those things, so that you can understand, again, there's a lot of things that have to happen in short order if we're looking at November of 26. And to your point, Janine, I think you said June was like the hint, like you have to file, have the verbiage, have the language, all of that stuff has to be with the recorder. I believe it's 88 days out, give or take. And June is 7-8 months away. And we got, to Gary's point, and Janine's, we have a lot of work to do. But what is it that you choose and pick as the vehicle or the avenue to get there? The time of, I think maybe that it's running out. The sands are running out. So great dialogue. And I think as a board, the action item needs to be massaged into something different than, do you want to approve a survey, but more an item of what's the discussion on, what do you want to do? Is that a fair assessment of what I'm hearing?
I think we need to get back to meet as an ad hoc, and then if we need to bring a special meeting.
And the ad
Before
hoc
the November
committee needs
meeting,
to report out to the rest of the board, so the rest of the board is informed about, how we have
We'll
considered
see,
this.
we'll see where it lands after the ad hoc. If so, we'll schedule a special meeting in which we'll have 3 and Sherry here to speak to the entire board and to report out from there.
Sherry's under contract to have somebody whose contract we're considering. Of course, our meetings are open to the public, but that seems a little awkward to me.
To have FM3 here
Yeah,
At a board meeting?
well,
I'm just.
that's fine. We might turn their contract down, but
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
at least we can get an explanation from them as to why they feel we should go in one way or another, as far as.
I answer some of those questions you guys had.
Or would it be better to have them at the ad hoc meeting to educate you all on what they do and who they are? That you then could report back out.
then we can decide whether we want them at that
That's fine
point.
as well.
Either way, it's not something I'm gonna.
Well, and I think that we as an ad hoc didn't do a good job of educating the rest of the board. There's a lot of questions.
Comments from the public? Good thing.
When I was reading the proposal, it was going to be a telephone conversation. I don't answer my phone if I don't recognize who's calling. So you have to have this company have some kind of logo or something so people know what's going on. My second comment is, as I remember the last survey they did, they ended up with 3 different ABC proposals, and they were amounts like, would you support $50 more a month, 75, whatever. And the board selected the one that they gave the less possibility of passing, if I remember correctly.
That was the SCI and the benefit assessment process, not the last survey from FM3 after it failed.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the survey they did, the results that came back,
Well,
3 choices of what you would be willing to pay. And they had it in a graph with possibilities.
and I think their results were, they were predicting 56.44. Does that add up to 100? And we came in at 57. They were, again, even they were just 1 or 2 percentage points off of what they had predicted would pass. So they know what they're doing, and it's a science, and I don't understand it, but it's, again, this was more to get the discussion going on. We need to start moving the ball down the field if we're gonna get to the end of it, and we're running out of time.
Let's work on getting that ad hoc committee meeting set up in the next week and a half. Additional discussion.
You'd be happy to know we're halfway through the slides.
We'll be here at 10 tonight.
All right, let's go. Oddly, the same exact number of calls this month as last month. Within a few percentage points overall. And I think this year we're tracking at negative 0.03 for year over year. Agent 17, Medic 19, Medic 16, the busiest, they're going to 17. Station 17, 18, the area of Station 15, the third busiest. Here is the response by district usage. No anomalies in that one, and here's the medic. Like somebody mentioned earlier, 19s is getting busy and sharing, although this month it's a little bit more even. Fires in September, we had 6 fires, 3 vegetation that were mutual aid, a mutual aid structure, a trash and a vehicle fire. Turnout time is trending down, travel time is trending up, and overall response time is trending up. Here's our unit hour utilization, Medic 19 at 15.28, Medic 16 11.65, and then the engine company is 5% or less. You can see that graph. Medic 19 picks up there in May and continues on. Although Medic 16 is picking up too.
Fire prevention side, real similar to last month, we had, although we had more residential starts than we did previously, with 10 new starts and 1 commercial start, a total of 33 permits for full, just a little under 16,000 square foot of residential remodel activity, which is a little on the high side the last couple months, but still manageable. We took in 31 sets of plans, and Katrina and I conducted 33 inspections and 1 re-inspection. On the new construction side, we broke ground at the Chabad House on Douglas Boulevard, our old Station 4 location. I did the underground inspection today to their fire lines. So that's the only real significant commercial development that we have under construction right now, but we have quite a few scheduled that will probably come online next year that I'll share with you. They're out of the pipeline and actually in the process of doing construction. So. And then lastly, you guys are doing an excellent job wrapping up the annual inspections. The due date is October 31st, and we look to be on track to have all those completed our mandated inspections as well as our business inspections by that time frame. So look to be able to review next board meeting, and give you a report that's complete. Facilities wise, the only project we have going on right now is the ongoing landscape project at Station 18, the one that we're doing in conjunction with UC Master Gardeners. The timeline is mid-November for planting, so you should see some significant changes to the front of Station 18 around that time. Chief's brought up kind of a preliminary plan of what it's going to look like, combination of some vegetation and some open areas with decomposed granite, as well as our signage that will educate the community on what it is and why this type of planting and the location of it is meets firewise requirements. And then on the investigation side, we know call outs for the arson task force, and we did utilize our team in-house for the past month. So it's been quiet on that pop up with as well. Any questions?
It's sad to see they tore down the whole Station 4, a piece of history there.
Nothing left.
Was that all in before our CFPs?
Yeah, unfortunately, that one. But don't worry, there's quite a few projects slated for next year, large scale ones that will be able to utilize that.
Open time, 56% due to open positions, and then sick leave and vacation. Mando's way down from last month to 25% at 75. You can see that dramatic fall off here. Total overtime hours are starting to stabilize and come down in terms of dollars as well. The usage over the last month. Okay. Is the ad hoc, special district ad hoc have anything to report on?
I think we had the last meeting. Was that your presentation?
Yes.
So we had a presentation on EMS and presentation on the consolidation between Placer Hills and Newcastle. Continue with those meetings. All of the stuff on the EMS side was basically bringing them up to speed on what we actually do, what Dorsville actually does, what 201 rights are, what 224 rights are. How those work throughout the county. And some other ideas from other counties such as Sonoma County. They run their EMS systems. Fair.
What's that?
Anything from Fair?
No meeting.
We had a par support, our monthly's at 1.8 million and 31,000 of earnings before fees. And I've included HDL's property tax newsletter in there. Use report, 4 reports in the packet, but some highlights Jeff already talked to. We were back in the Loomis schools this year for the first time since 2019. It's 600 kids, 5 schools. We're trying to get into Granite Bay. No luck this year, but we will push for next year. Great turnout. Kids had a blast. We really hit on some good stuff there, and we'll continue to keep that rolling. And we've had outstanding work again. I'm gonna let Chief Magnuson talk a little bit about our current field saves.
Last month, I had the honor and privilege to discuss our field save program and our coin. And we presented a coin to Engineer Taylor Bromley, who was here. Captain Gray was also on that call, and Captain O'Leary was also on that call. And I mentioned that Captain Klein was also a recipient. Well, in true South Boston fashion, I got the watch this, hold my beer speech from these guys. 3 more field saves this month in the last 30 days. Actually 3.5, and I'll get to that half in a second. And because it took so long for me to get out the coins the last time, Chief Dewar and I went around and gave out the coins as we could get a hold of the peoples, because there was 17 coins that we ended up giving out, plus some to AMR, plus some to state parks. And so we gave them out as we could. I still have one more coin to give out to Firefighter to Spain, but I wanted to read everybody's names and give them the public recognition that they deserve. Call number 1 was on September 15th. Involved engine 18, AMR, and a 39-year-old male who went into cardiac arrest. Captain Portillo got a coin. Engineer Bromley got his second coin, and firefighter Mascarenhas got his first coin. On 9/22 of this year, engine 17, medic 16, medic 19, and state parks all responded to a vehicle accident right down here at the corner of Douglas and Albert Folsom, where a gentleman had a heart attack and crashed into 2 other cars and was in cardiac arrest. On that call, Captain Stevens, Engineer Silva, Firefighter Peterson, Firefighter Despain, Firefighter Everett, Captain Long, and Captain Bothier were all involved in that call, and the gentleman walked out of the hospital about 5 days later. And then the most recent, before I get back to the half call, was on the 3rd of this year. Again, engine 18 and AMR, a 39-year-old female in cardiac arrest. It happened to be her second cardiac arrest, so she got the short straw. Captain Fuller, Engineer Bromley, and Captain Portillo were all involved in that one, along with AMR. On both those calls, 4 coins were given to AMR's operations manager at a meeting last week. And also on the vehicle accident we had down here, Chief Dewar and I went over to state parks and we presented coins, and you might have seen that on Facebook and in, was it the Loomis paper?
Yeah.
It was a Loomis paper. We had the half call that I mentioned happened on 9/29. The female that was involved, 63-year-old female, she lived 10 days. She unfortunately passed. However, they harvested her organs and saved numerous lives with the organs that were harvested as a donor organ program. And that doesn't happen unless we do great CPR and great work in the field. And so kudos to Captain Kinchlow, Engineer Ridgway, Engineer Duncan, Firefighter Mascarenhas, and Firefighter Stensler for that call. Even though she didn't live, I mean, it's a win in my book, because how many people survived from her organs. So I wanted to get that out there because it's very important that we give our guys and gals recognition for hard work that they do, because we have so many tragedies. And when we have a few wins like this, especially 3 in a month or 4 in a month, it's huge. It's huge for the mental and wellness and health of our people and our staff. So I want to get that out there. So kudos to everybody.
To put it in perspective, it's not, I know you all know this, but maybe for the public, it's not like Baywatch where you do CPR and everybody pops up and lives, right? We're talking single-digit percentage points of bringing people back. So
25% in the state is what we get resuscitation on. And of that 25%, less than 1% walk out of the hospital.
Less than
25%.
Less than 1%, 25%. So to have that happen once or twice in your career is a testament to the work you're doing. To have it happen in this district 3 times this month, I think 5 total or 4 times in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
An absolute testament to the fantastic people you have working here and the efforts that they're putting in to make sure that your community is safe. So kudos again to them. Fantastic. And just to tag on a little bit to this, recently we attended the Loomis American Legion hosted a awards night where Engineer Taylor Bromley, although on vacation, was awarded a award for his outstanding service. I believe 2 or 3 of these he was involved in.
He was involved in 3. He's the first 3 coin winners. So we're gonna get him a car. It might be a Matchbox. But we're gonna get him
one of those
Crown Vic.
But he was recognized for his efforts in the field in the town of Loomis. And so just to let you know that happened, they will be here, I think, at the next board meeting, maybe to give him his award. And I think that is the end of the chief report. Functions, Loomis Public Safety Day, October 25th. That's this Saturday. I think it's like 11 to 1. I'll have to look. They'll be down there, PCSO, probation, sheriff. They're going to show off all their money and fancy toys, and we're going to have a fire engine and some cool guys out there. None of their guys are cool, so they're looking cool. And nor good looking, nor could they pass the fire test, but that's a totally different discussion. CSDA meeting in Auburn, November 13th. If you guys on the board would like to attend, it's up to the same place, which is the Mighty Center up there, I believe. Santa by the Lake and in the Hood is coming. If we need a Santa Claus, if there's anybody carrying anybody, I know, get going. That's why I'm telling you now. You got plenty of time to get in shape.
I had to start growing that in March to be that way. So.
Dang, I'll put that on my notes for next year. And then,
but I enjoyed doing that. That was a lot of fun.
We got a fake one. Don't worry. We'll make you look good. And then we have Santa coming to Station 17. We're thinking December 6th, tentatively. possibly, but sometime in December for sure for Santa to be here. And I believe we just went through 40, oh wait, let me back up. We just went through 40 slides in like 10 minutes. So if there's a question you have, please let me know.
Board or staff comments?
Put that back, please.
Put which back?
Oh, the events?
The events.
I thought you meant the past 45 slides.
Can we start over?
Absolutely. Anything you want.
Anything?
We are not starting over. I'm sorry.
Board or staff comments?
Sorry.
Future agenda items. We have the report on the truck. What else do we have?
Scheduling an ad hoc and bringing back the proposal for funding / discussion, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Anything else?
Are we going to have a tentative idea when we're gonna have the special meeting?
Let me get a meeting with the ad hoc first and then we can have a conversation.
Okay.
I think some of that'll depend on the timeline of things. If we can push it to the next regular meeting, we'll push it to then. If not, then we'll put out for a special meeting. Okay. Got it. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming.